Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Pretty Little Lattes. Today's topic is Game of Thrones. There's going to be major spoilers from season 1 to season 8, so if you want to avoid spoilers, probably leave now because we're gonna be doing heavy spoiler talk today.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard not to talk. I mean, all Game of Thrones is a giant spoiler, to be honest. Like, there's so much that happens within the whole series as a whole. Like, there really isn't any way we could just, like, glance over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to be chatting about Game of Thrones. Fun fact, I used my Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette today as a, what is it? Because we're doing this, so I was like, I'll use my Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette. It's quite pretty.
See, a Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette is not something I would own.
See, Game of Thrones Urban Decay eyeshadow palette, and it like pulls out like this. And look at that. Is that
Wow.
pretty? Look at that.
That is kind of pretty, actually.
It is really pretty. And then it has like this giant mirror, and then I don't ever use the rest of it, but then it has like.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I used my Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette. Sissy and I are pretty big Game of Thrones fans. I mean, we're fans.
Okay, you want to know what's so frustrating? The first 4 seasons are pure gold. Like, there's not a single flaw. It's amazing. So, like, the first 4 seasons, 10 out of 10. Best show, like, ever, like, in the universe. Yeah. So good. And then, like, seasons, like, 5 and 6, they're like, it's not, like, terrible, but like the quality definitely, for me at least, I know some people don't mind 5 and 6. 5 and 6 for me, they were like a bit of a drop in quality, and then 7 and 8 just turned it into a dumpster fire, and it's really sad because the first 4 seasons were so good. They were so good.
Yeah, it really sucks, man. Oh, it's like, so I don't know what season you started, like, getting hooked on it. But I remember, so Mom and Dad had watched it for 2 seasons. 2 full seasons before I started watching it. I think I watched the first part of the first episode, which is, like, God, Dad and I have seen it probably, like, 10 million times with how many people we have showed. But it's, like, where they're beyond the wall, and then it kind of introduces, like, the White Walkers and all of that. And I was like, God, really? A zombie, like, freaking show? I don't want to watch a zombie show. So I was like, I'm not going to watch this. And then I let it go for, like, 2 seasons, and then, oh, my God, I binged. I think it was only on season 4 at that point. And I, like, binged everything up until then. It was, like, so good. I don't know. When did you start watching Game of Thrones? You weren't at the beginning either.
I have a memory of being like, I don't know how long ago it was, when I was like 10 or something, and you guys were like watching Game of Thrones, and it was of course like one of the sex scenes, and I'm like, ew, naked people, that's gross. And now being like, well, you guys watch weird shows.
That does sound.
And then I think, when did I think I was 14 when I actually. When like as a family, you guys like showed it to me, and I really liked it. It became more mature at that point.
Well, so, yeah, it's still awkward watching it with Mom and Dad.
It's awkward. It's kind of awkward, yeah, but it's still a great show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was 14 when it was shown to me, and I think it was before season 6 came out.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah. I know that you like binged it, just like Jeremy binged his too.
We were binging it.
They were binging it. I know like so many people like binged the whole thing right before the final season, and I just kind of like, part of me was like sad people did that, but on the other hand, I'm like happy because it's like the final season. I know I'm like, it's so hard to talk about Game of Thrones in like a straight line. but like the last season, I was fine up until after episode 3. I think with the last season, but so many people who like binged Game of Thrones weren't as attached to it, and so like going into the final season, I don't think they were as hurt by what happened as much as in comparison to like Sissy and I and our family. Like we spent years like watching it week after week, like being excited for the next thing, and we waited like a full year and a half or something for the final season to come out.
Yeah.
I was also thinking if we wanted to, we could do like a quiz, like a see which Game of Thrones character.
I always get Arya.
You always get Arya? Do you really?
I always get Arya every time. Every time.
Can you guess who I would want? You know.
I know you want Marjorie, but I don't know if you're Marjorie. Maybe you are.
Wow.
I don't know.
I could definitely take a quiz and find out. I don't think I've taken a Game of Thrones quiz before. I mean,
our parents always compare us to Arya and Sansa. Like I'm Arya and she's Sansa kind of thing.
I could see myself as being more Sansa, especially honestly when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sansa is that character that you like hate so much in the beginning because they're just like she was like such a snooty, annoying, like I want to marry Prince Joffrey and have his babies, you know, like person. I want to be a princess. I want to be a queen. I want to do all this, blah 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 blah. You know, like to be honest, like I was like that a little bit as a kid. Like I wanted to be a queen. I wanted to boss people around. Like I wanted to marry like a prince, and I didn't really care too much about the personality because I was just like, oh, every prince is gonna be like amazing, you know. Like little did I know after watching this show, not necessarily the truth. But so like I could relate to Sansa, you know, in those like regards of her being younger, and then kind of reality kind of hitting her in the face of just like her situation and how awful people could be, especially like in King's Landing. And so like how she kind of matures. I feel like I could relate to that. Like I feel like I'm matured a lot better since I was a kid, and I'm not gonna just, you know, fall over any prince, you know.
So something that Game of Thrones really excels at is their character development, because yeah, in the beginning I hated Sansa. Like she was such a brat, and I just hated everything about her. But the show is like so good, this character development. And you know, when she was put through all this shit, like the way that she kind of matured and learned, and like she went through a lot of terrible stuff. But she like really changed, and I really like her now. I think she's a great character. She totally changed. Her growth was really good. I would say Sansa. I would say that Sansa had the most character development. That's what I would say. I know a lot of. I feel like most people say Jaime, but I think Sansa's the one that changed the most.
Well, like I might have said Jaime up until the end. Until what they did to him in the
end.
Like, I would have been like, yep, you're right. Jaime's character arc, like, best character arc, he changed so much since the beginning until, like, what they had him do in the end. I mean, God, it's, like, hard because I don't know how to, like, should we just talk kind of, like, in general season? Like, should we talk about, like, Jaime?
We gave a spoiler warning. We can talk specifics.
I mean, like, he was this very arrogant, snooty asshole swordsman in the beginning, you know, and then he met Brienne, and he just like, oh my God, they were so great together. And then she like changed him for the better, and you could obviously tell that she was like totally in love with him. It was just like great. And they were like so perfect. And then the final season, you know, like they finally like get together, you know, they do the deed. And then what does he do? Like the next day, he's like, oh, bye. I'm sorry. I need to go back to Cersei.
Okay, yeah. Of course, we can't have a Game of Thrones episode without talking about the last season, because the last season where it all fell apart. The one like line that bothers me the most is when Jaime tells Bran that he has to go back to Cersei. And like, I don't really remember everything he said, but I remember him saying something along the lines of, like, I never cared about the people. Like, he always cared about the people. That was the thing. Like, he became the Kingslayer.
Like, I don't care about anyone else but
kill all the people. Like, that was Jaime's thing. Like, sure, he was an asshole, but he cared about the people. And then he's like, oh, I never cared about the people. Like, yes, he did. Mm-hmm. That's bullshit. I was so pissed. They ruined his whole arc. His whole arc.
I know. It was just like, finally, Jaime was like, after the shit that he went through, the shit that he saw other people go through, like, you know, he did what he could to try to help Arya, to try to help Sansa, you know, like, there's things that he did. He promised Catelyn Stark, you know, and that also helped him, like, him trying to do that, and he followed through with his word. Like, he didn't just, like, turn his back on everyone, you know? And then finally in the fucking end, you know, he's with freaking Brienne, and then it's just, like, bye the next day.
I know.
And, like, can we just, they die by falling rocks.
I know. That was so bad. I mean, I love Jaime's arc because he was a snotty prince, and like, but he was the best swordsman ever, right? And then he lost his hand. He lost everything, mm-hmm. and he was depressed, and he just wanted to give up on everything. And Brienne called him out on it. I remember her being like, you're so weak. Like, this one thing happens, and now you're just gonna give up. Like, yeah. But it was what he needed to hear. Like, it was perfect. They're perfect for each other. And then he just throws it all away for Cersei, who, like, honestly, I don't think towards the end she really even gave a shit about him.
Honestly.
Like, I didn't understand it.
No.
I don't understand.
And it's just like, God, I just can't understand them. Like, Cersei is such, like, an awful person. I don't understand how he loves her. Like, I never felt really any sympathy or anything towards her. Like, ever. Like, I felt more, like, sympathy towards Tyrion than anything. Like, God, you know, it's just like, what? I do feel like, yeah, Cersei deserved, like, a more, well, she was, like, put up as, like, in the final season, they killed off the Night King, like, 3 episodes in. Like, everything was about the Night King. The whole fucking series was about him and the White Walkers taking over. And instead of making him the big bad villain that they finish off in the finale, who did they do? They, like, make Dany the villain. And then they have Cersei be another villain. Technically, or like they're trying to make Cersei not even the villain or more the victim at this point with like how Dany was acting. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But they like, I don't know. They just decided to go on this weird whim and do that. And like, it was just so disappointing because like the episode where they fight the Night King was so badass. Like everything was great up until that point. And then they totally like, all the momentum, like, everything built up, I feel like, for seasons of me watching, like, this big confrontation was gone. And then I'm like, what the fuck are they gonna do now? And what they chose to do, I thought was stupid. And, like...
So, I think that was the biggest mistake with the final season, was having them kill the Night King first and then doing the thing with Cersei. Because I understand why it's a challenge to do the Night King last, because that's like all the way in Winterfell, and so have everybody go to King's Landing and then go back to like, I get that kind of, I get that it's kind of difficult to do that. Hang on, I gotta sneeze. Sorry. Thank you. But Cersei is not as big of a threat as the Night King. Like, they build up 8 seasons worth of the Night King being the all-time powerful being, like, the world-ending thing, and then it's, like, one episode, and then we flash over to Cersei. Like, Cersei is nowhere near the level of the Night King. Like, they should have done the thing with Cersei first, and then the whole Night King should have been the last. That should have been, like, the final thing that they did.
Yeah.
I think that would have made it a lot better. I think that the way that they organized it was just terrible.
And I also, like, my other thing is, like, I could understand Daenerys and then ending up being evil in the end. Like, I could. Like, I could understand her getting to the point she was at, but not in 3 episodes. Not in 3 episodes. They rushed it. They totally rushed it. Like, in the beginning of the season, like, she was fine. She cared about her people. She cared about people. She wanted to save people, you know? And then, like, 3 freaking things in, and she's like, I don't care. I'm going to burn this whole fucking kingdom down, and I don't care who I take with me. So I understand, like, why Jon had to kill her. I understand, like, the story of her going down a dark, evil path. I mean, she's a Targaryen. Like, look at her family history. Like, it was bound to happen, honestly. And I kind of felt like you and I even talked about this, and Dad, we all talked about this, like, seasons before the finale even happened. Like, the second that she got her dragons and she was being very ruthless, you know, she was helping people, though, at the same time. She, like, stopped caring. They just made her completely stop caring everything once Miss Sunday died. And I was just like, I get that your best friend died, but the whole fucking kingdom doesn't deserve to die like that. And I think she would have known that. I think she would have listened to Tyrion from the point that they had her at. If they had started making her have those, like, more intense decisions, maybe, like, early on the season prior, I get that they were trying to do that with, I don't even know if this is the last season. No, I think it's the second to last season, where she burned alive Sam's brother and dad, you know, because they led the army that was transporting the gold from King's Landing. You know, like, she burned them alive with, like, no trial or whatever because they refused to, like, bend the knee to her. And I get that that's what they were trying to do in that, and trying to show that she's going down a darker path. But they should have just kept going down from there. Like, it should have been, like, way more obvious that she was completely lost it. Because when she faced the Night King, I still felt like she cared. And that was a big issue for me, because then she did a full, like, 180 in, like, an episode or 2, and it didn't feel real. It felt rushed, and it felt like really bad planning.
Yeah. So, the thing with Daenerys, like, Dad actually predicted that Daenerys was going to end up being the villain. And, like, that was, I like their decision to make Daenerys the villain, because she is ruthless. She's ruthless. She's not going to be satisfied by anything. So, like, I get it. Like, that made sense to me. The problem is that, yeah, they changed her too dramatically, too quickly, because Cersei surrendered. She surrendered the whole kingdom. You know, like, there's no reason for Daenerys to go in and kill everybody, but she did it anyways, and that didn't make any sense to me, because, like, remember when she was ruling over, see, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name
King's
of
Landing?
No, with the pyramid place.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You know where I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I can't
remember the name of the place. Anyways, you know, like, this one guy, his child was burned alive by one of her dragons, and she was so upset over the death of this one child that she locked away her dragons. Like, that's how empathetic she was. And then all of a sudden, she just burns down a whole kingdom of children and adults, and she just kills everyone. And, like, I could potentially see that happening, but the way that they did it was way too rushed. The way that I think that what they should have done, first of all, is I think they should have had Daenerys be on the throne. I wanted to see Daenerys ruling King's Landing, right? And, like, this was her big thing. Like, she just wanted to get the throne, right? And she gets the throne, but she's not satisfied. Because she's not really meant to be a ruler. She craves war. She's ruthless. She wants to she just wants more. She wants more than she can have. And so even though she has King's Landing, I think they could have done it where like she just keeps try to conquer all of these other lands, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think they could have done it where like she wants Winterfell. Like she wants all the lands.
Yeah.
She wants Winterfell, right? And so then that's where there's the thing between her and then like Sansa and Jon, like, oh no, Winterfell's ours, but she wants, like, and then that could have been much more gray.
Yeah.
What I liked about Game of Thrones is that all the characters were gray. It was a gray area.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like Ramsay's just terrible and evil, and Joffrey. Like, obviously, there's characters that are just not even a question. But a lot of the characters are gray.
Like Jaime, like you hate him in the beginning,
so
and you love him. Yeah.
Yeah. And Arya, like, she murders people, but she's cool. Like, it's all gray. But Daenerys, she wasn't gray at the end. She was just flat out evil. Like, I would have liked it to be like she's on the throne, and she doesn't mean to be, because nobody thinks they're evil, right? So she doesn't think she's evil.
Yeah.
But she's just not satisfied, and she keeps trying to conquer, and then she just becomes this ruthless person who has to be stopped because she's not going to stop. And I feel like that would have been much more gray. I mean, I don't know. That's what I think would have been good to see, because that would have been much more gray. It would have been more slow and built out. I'm sad that we never got to see her on the throne.
I agree.
Because that's all she wanted, and we never even got to see it.
Like, it would have been interesting. So, I would have been okay with them, like, killing off the Night King as early as they did in the final season, as long as they got through the whole, like, Daenerys taking the throne before that even happened. So, like, say she got the throne, she was sitting on the throne when they defeated the Night King. Like, she was in charge, all that type of stuff. And then after that, she was like, and then Sansa would be like, okay, I'm gonna rule, Winterfell on my own. And then she's gonna be like, no, you're not, like, go back on her word. Yeah. So, like, if they did something like that, and then Jon was, like, sitting there, and because I know that she even said, like, the whole world needed changing. Like, the whole world needed saving. Like, they had that in there. Like, you could tell that they were wanting to go off on that line with her where she was like, she was never going to be satisfied. She was never going to be enough. But I felt like we never got a chance to fully see it and the danger that it posed. Like, yeah, she burned down a whole fucking village. But, like, if she had, like, a full war meeting with all these people after the Night King with her on the throne being like, okay, let's take over this place, and then let's take over this place. And it, like, showed, like, in her mind, all the different places that she wanted to take over. All the different places, like, it would have just shown, like, how big of a change she would make and how this would never stop. I feel like we never got the full idea that it would never stop from her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, she would never stop. Like, I could see Daenerys killing innocent people in order to get to something. Like, she kills innocent people because she wants to rule their land. Yeah. But in her mind, like, oh, but see, I'm gonna take better care of the land, so I'm being good. But you know what I mean? So that's where it's like she's not trying to be evil, but she is, because she's killing innocent people, right? Kind of thing. But there was no reason for her to kill the people in King's Landing. Yeah. Because Cersei surrendered. So I could see Daenerys killing innocents to get what she wants, but not just for the hell of it. She's not just gonna kill innocent people.
She wasn't
for,
there yet.
Literally no reason. That was so out of character. Not built up. Made no sense. There was no reason for her to do that. No reason. That was, in my opinion, that was a terrible decision to have her do that.
I agree. I 100% agree. It's just so sad. Just with, like, how Jaime's story and, like, Daenerys is just, like, everything was great. They defeated the Night King, and honestly, I was so happy that they had Arya do it versus Jon. Like, I love Jon Snow, don't get me wrong, and I always wanted to see that confrontation, but, like, having Arya, the one person I feel like was completely out of that full-on storyline for seasons, be the badass person to just, like, be so quiet, sneak up behind, and, like, totally destroy the Night King and save the fucking world. Like, that was badass. I thought that was great. I remember, Sissy and I, and, our whole family, actually, like, after we would watch an episode, after a couple days, we would go on YouTube, and there was this one like bar in Chicago or New York or something where they would play like the Game of Thrones episode, and then they would record people's reactions, and it would be so funny to watch. But like everyone was like cheering, and they were like, it was insane. So like obviously we couldn't go to the bar or anything like that because we live in California and that's across the country. But like we got to watch and see like people's reaction to like Arya killing the Night King and stuff like that, and everyone seemed to like love it. You know, like that was probably the peak. Like that's where I felt like honestly it could have ended right there and I would have been fine, even with like the unfinished storyline, just because I felt like it was such a big win, and that's what they built up the whole series for. And it's just like also just what happens in the end, even when Daenerys is gone, right? Like who's gonna take over the kingdom? Obviously it's gonna be Bran. Like the one person who doesn't want to be on the throne, who's supposed to be the three-eyed raven, is the king. What? And like Jon goes beyond this. He has to be exiled. He has to like go beyond the wall because he killed Daenerys. Like, and then what happened to Tyrion? Tyrion gets to stay there. I don't know.
What did happen to Tyrion? Oh, I think he was the treasurer or something.
That's what he was in the beginning. Maybe, yeah, he got to stay. I think he was probably like hand of the.
He was part of the council.
Was he maybe like hand of the king or something like that?
He was part of like the council.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. I just thought, and then Arya leaving. I understood Arya leaving, and I was fine with like Arya and Sansa's like end points. Like Sansa ruled Winterfell on her own. Like she was great at it, and we even that was the thing. We got to see a glimpse of her ruling Winterfell, and that's why we were like so set on her like, you know, being in charge of Winterfell and being fine with it, and like we knew she was going to do good. Arya, we obviously knew she could go off and do anything. I mean, she could blend in with anyone. Though I really did want her and Greg, no.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember
what's his name. Oh God, it's been so many years, and I like refused to rewatch the last season. But I really wanted her and him to end up together. But like, I understood that she was just like not wanting to be tied down. And Gendry. There we go. It's like I know it started with the G, but didn't want to be tied down, and she didn't want to be, you know, like a housewife, and like he would have never asked her to be that, but like she would have been stuck doing that since he got the Lord title, you know. It's just like it hurt my heart because I was rooting for them since the beginning.
So, okay, yeah. So, I didn't have a problem with the way they killed Night King with, like, Arya doing it. Like, you know, I thought that was fine. Two things that I want to say that really bothered me. Arya had the ability to take faces. She could become anybody she wanted, right? This was never utilized. It was never... No!
Once. For the Walder phrase. Yeah, so they used that like
a big
once.
plot point. That was like so
and
cool
like
thing,
murdering the captain.
But that didn't affect the plot. Like she in the final season, she didn't really use it. Like she used it to blend in with the crowd, I believe, but she never actually used it as like a big game changer. Like it never made that big of a difference. I kept waiting for them to do something really cool with it.
Yeah.
Like Arya put like I don't know. I just kept waiting for them to do something really cool with it, and they never did. And then same thing with Bran. Okay, so I still need to finish reading the first Game of Thrones book. I haven't finished reading it because like I don't know what my problem is, but I did read like half of it. I hate Bran's arc. Okay, it's so boring. I don't like Bran. I don't like his arc. Like, if I could do one complaint about, like, the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, I don't like Bran. He's really annoying and I don't like his arc, right?
I agree.
But, like, I get that it's supposed to be important, right? Because he becomes the,
Three-eyed raven.
Yeah, the three-eyed raven, right? So he has this power to, like, look to the past. And apparently he has the ability to change the past, which which is something you're not even supposed to be able to do.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to what's that thing where he can go into animals' mind or like creatures' minds?
Oh, I can't remember what it was
I can't remember what
called.
it's called, but he
But
has the
yeah,
ability. None of these are
ever
ever
used.
utilized in the last season. He doesn't go into like anybody's head to do something cool. Like I heard people being like, "Oh, he should go into one of the dragons." Like he never uses his ability. Why does he have the ability to like go into people's heads and take over the bodies if
And
it
never
never
uses
gets
it.
utilized? The biggest thing they did with it was Hodor.
Yeah.
That made me cry. That was a great scene. I loved it, but that didn't really affect the plot in a major way. Like they never used it in a big way. And then he has this ability to look into the past and change the past.
Yeah.
And they never do anything with it. Like nothing significant ever happens with it. That's the never one thing that bothers me, that they're like, "Oh, Arya can change her appearance and look like
Yeah.
somebody else. Bran can go into minds and change the past," and it's never utilized. Never.
Yeah, all these cool
Wait.
abilities that we like learned that could finally be like developed in these characters, and then just like once they learn it, it's like they didn't even learn it in the first place. Like they didn't know how to like incorporate it. So that I agree. It was kind of, but like I especially agree that I did not like Bran's arc. Like I found it all very boring as well. Like whenever that would come on, I would just be like, "Can we skip?" Which sounds so awful because yeah, again, I get and I understand the importance, but it's like it also seemed like almost too much. Like the stuff that he could do definitely seemed like it was almost like they put on way too much for him. And plus, like, the fact that after all of that, he became the king in the end, when he the whole time talked about, like, I don't want to be involved. I can't be involved. I am the three-eyed raven. I can't be the king. I can't be an advisor. I can't do any of this because I am the three-eyed raven. But they make him king in the end anyway. And I'm just like, it's fine. It's not that I wanted Jon Snow on the throne or anything. You know, after everything that he did. Oh,
yeah. So that was also one thing that really bothered me, was the fact that they they built up like this whole time, like everyone had always been like theorizing that Jon was actually like you know, like Targaryen. I forget everybody's names, honestly, but he was like part Targaryen.
yeah.
You know, everybody had a theories from early on. Everybody then believed he was gonna be on the throne. They set it up for him to be on the throne. Like the last like 2 seasons were like, "Oh, Jon's gonna be on the throne," and he was never on the throne. I get that they're trying to do like the subverting expectations thing, right? Like they're like, "We're gonna make you think that Jon goes on the throne," and then, "Oh no, it's Bran." What? But like, it was the way they did it was so unsatisfying.
It was so stupid.
Why would Bran be king? Bran literally, I can't. Okay, again, I don't remember the lines word for word, but Bran said something like, "I can't be the king.
Yeah.
I'm the three-eyed raven." And then, in like the last episode, they're like, "Bran, you should be king," and he's like, "Oh, I thought you would never ask." Like, what?
He's like, "Well, I don't want to be king," and they're like, "And that's why you should be king." I mean, like, Jon didn't want to be king either. Like, Jon didn't really ever want to be king, but he was a true leader, and he did help.
Jon would be so good.
Yeah.
There's like, there's like this saying that like, power should go to those who don't want it.
Yeah. And that's
Jon didn't want the throne, so he should have had it because he wouldn't be corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
He would rule great. Like, I wanted to see him on the throne. I know that would have been predictable because everybody saw it coming, but at least it would have been satisfying. I know, I've heard that like apparently George R. R. Martin, that's what he wants to happen. Whenever someday, 50 years from now, he finishes his books.
On the throne?
Bran. He wants Bran on the throne. So apparently that was George R. R. Martin's idea. He's gonna put Bran on the throne. I don't think, you know, like, I think that's weird. I don't like that. George R. R. Martin is a great writer. Mm-hmm. Once he like comes out with all the books, I want to read them. Like, I'm sure that he can do something great. I'm sure the way he'll write it, maybe I can like understand why Bran is the one on the throne. But in the show, it came out of nowhere. There was no setup for it. Bran was useless. I hated him, and that he.
It's just, oh, God.
I remember literally laughing. Like, when they said that Bran should be king, I actually
think we
remember
all were.
laughing out loud. I remember laughing out loud.
I think we were all
So
like,
ridiculous.
are you fucking kidding me? What else could go wrong in this season? And then they do that, and we're like, well, great, they answered us, you know? Like, oh, we were so disappointed. And it's hard to say, like, we're kind of bashing on it a lot, but, like, it's only because we really loved the show. Like, for years, it was a family thing. Like, and lots of families did this. I talked to people. I got multiple friends into watching this show. Like, it was a huge deal for us. Like, and so many other people. And they just kind of, like, lacklustered it.
Yeah.
You know? It just, like, exactly what you said. They wanted to be like, oh, you think this is gonna happen? Like, nope. Not gonna happen. We're gonna go completely off the rails and you'll never expect this. You know what? Like, maybe we didn't want that. Maybe the people didn't want that. You know, like, sure, you could have done that with some of the smaller points, you know. Honestly, I would have been fine with Jaime left with Cersei and, like, we never see them again and they're off with their baby, like, in some, like, area, like, of the world, and we never hear about them again, you know, and they live an ordinary life, whatever, you know. I wouldn't have expected that from the beginning. I would have wanted Jaime with Bran, but, you know, like, stuff like that, it would have been, like, whatever to me, but, like, the whole thing that they took with, like, Daenerys and Jon and then Bran, like, the fact that Jon had to be, like, exiled, like, really pissed me off. Like, he can never come back.
Why did Grey Worm get to make that decision?
Grey Worm was such a
never made
disappointment.
sense to me. Grey Worm?
I get
Nobody
that.
knew Grey Worm other than Daenerys, and she was dead. So, like, why did Grey Worm get to make that
Well,
decision?
because now all the Unsullied were in the area, and so he was second in command to Daenerys. So, like, and the Dothraki. So, like, he essentially, like, was in charge of the Dothraki and the Unsullied and anyone that she brought over. And so he was, like, the speaker of, like, for them. But, like, I just thought that was, like, stupid.
I didn't think that made any sense. I love Grey Worm. Side note, the relationship between Grey Worm and Missandei was, like, one of the relationships I was rooting for. I was like, oh, so cute, and I love it. And then I'm like, don't do it, Game of Thrones. Like, please don't do it. Don't do it, Game of Thrones. And then they fucking did it, and
they killed Missandei.
I wanted to, like, throw something across the room. I was so upset.
I was, like, really disappointed as well. I mean, it's like, I understand doing it, and I was actually okay with them killing her off. Not because, like, I wanted her to die, but because, like, I could understand, like, it's the final season. Like, we can't have all of this success and then, like, everyone lives happily ever after. That's not Game of Thrones. That's not the Game of Thrones we came to know. I mean, look at the fucking first episode. The main character, or the first season, the main character in the first season gets killed. You know, like, it's that's the type of thing, you know. But, like, the way, and even if Dany did die, like, I would have been fine with it if
you had to die.
Yeah,
you had to die. Like, we all knew that she was gonna die. Yeah. It was just like, how? You know.
One death I will never get over, though, is Marjorie's death. I thought it was very stupid and very upsetting, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart.
For her to go.
No, it was not.
The plot had nothing left for her.
It was definitely not time for her to go. It's never time for her to go. Marjorie is amazing.
Marjorie was cool. I liked her. But she ran her course. They had nothing left to do with her. It was time for her to go.
Okay, she could have done a lot more against Cersei.
What could she have done?
I don't know. She could have actually been married to Tommen and do things.
Tommen was a useless little bitch, okay?
Okay, that's true.
He was just...
Tommen was definitely a puppet.
Marjorie was far too intelligent for him. Like, she knew
exactly
what was going on.
I wanted to see her rule more, like her grandma. Like, her grandma literally fucking did everything for so many things, you know, like...
The Tyrells were so intelligent. Tommen was so...
I know. I wanted to see more things, like, with Marjorie actually on the fucking throne. You know, like, she was only queen for, like, a little bit, and half the time she was fucking locked up because Tommen wouldn't do shit. And because Cersei was like...
And he's like, no, mother, what do I do? Like, you're the fucking king! Like,
he was like...
something! You have some
yeah.
power! Like, what? You're just
It's like everything that Joffrey was all put into Tommen, and Tommen was just like can't handle that either. Like Joffrey was like too ruthless and he was mean. Tommen was too nice and he was too cowardly to be king. I kind of want to take a quiz now and see if I get Marjorie. I feel like I would.
I'm not. I always get Arya. Like literally.
You're always gonna get it. Okay.
I always get it because I am like.
You are very similar to.
I'm kind of. I mean, I'm not going around killing people,
Mm-hmm.
but like I am more like. I'm pretty rebellious, and.
It's true.
I don't usually. I don't know. Like I don't know. If I was in her position, I would do kind of like the same things where, you know, like where she wants to be a sword fighter. Like, I don't want to sit and like embroider things and like be a lady. Like, I couldn't, that's not me. So I would be, in that sense, I would be a lot like Arya. So I always get Arya when I take the quizzes because I'm not Sansa, man. I don't care about, oh, the prince. I don't need to marry and have children and I must be a lady. And like, no. No. No.
No. No.
Fam.
No, fam. I'm like, okay, one of these questions, it's like pick a Simpsons character. Never seen The Simpsons.
Find a better quiz.
This is a BuzzFeed quiz.
Oh, but don't take BuzzFeed quizzes. BuzzFeed is crap.
Oh, okay.
What are you doing on BuzzFeed?
This was just the first quiz that came up. Okay, I'll try this different one.
I have a memory of Mom reading Game of Thrones, like at the cabin, like a long time ago. And I have a memory of her getting to the end of the book and literally chucking it across the room. Like, I'm not even joking. I remember her just chucking it across the room. She was so pissed off. She was reading, I think it was like the finale of like the second season is where she was in the book. And like, I
Mom?
think yeah, when the like the Starks were murdered, that's when she threw the book across the room. She was like, no!
This bullshit.
This bullshit! I have a distinct memory of that.
Okay, I'm taking a different quiz. We'll see how this goes. Is the quill indeed mightier than the sword?
That's always been an interesting phrase. I mean, like, it depends on the situation.
Sometimes I suppose it would depend on the situation at hand. It's literally what.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you like know the quiz before you even take it.
Well, this is gonna help you finish a war. Like, what? I mean, like, if you can come to negotiations, maybe, but like, a quill isn't gonna help you against Daenerys. So.
Let's see. If I could be a supervillain or superhero, which would I choose?
Supervillain. They get to do all the fun things. I would want to be a supervillain. If I was in a comic book world, I would totally be a supervillain.
You really would.
What would your... Totally! It would be so much fun.
If you...
They don't have to follow the rules.
It's true. It's true.
You know, like Megamind? Like, yeah. Like, it's just fun.
If you could be a star of your own movie, what genre would it be? Tale of Revenge. An adventure with a dash of romance. You discover that someone is making threats to you, and it's to kill or be killed. How do you relieve your enemy of their lifeblood? That's a weird way to ask that question. Sword through the chest. I'd never kill anyone. I'd let my friends handle that. I'm the brains of the operation. Poison. Probably poison.
Sword through the chest.
Slowly with withering looks and razor sharp insults. I wonder who that's supposed to be. Definitely would probably do poison. I could see myself like in that time frame if I was like actually in the world of like Game of Thrones. I would probably honestly more like smart like Marjorie though. Like I would know like I don't want to say I'm controlling. Like I know how to be controlling and manipulative, but I could like understand people.
that's another thing that makes me more like Sansa slash Marjorie, and what that makes me more like Arya. I don't have the patience to deal with people. You would be so good at like negotiating and like you're very intelligent and you would know how to get through things just with words and I'm not like that. I don't want to use words. I just want to stab things. Like,
You're so Arya.
Yeah.
Let's see. How important is winning the Iron Throne?
What do you want to be on that throne anyways? It's
like, it's literally a curse though, to be honest. I prefer to rule over my own domain from a chair that doesn't draw blood.
Ooh.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, that one's nice.
Quick, someone is coming at you with a sword. What do you do? Run away, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. Attack when they are unaware. Charm them into submission. No, this is bullshit. This quiz isn't right. It says I'm Arya.
What did it give you?
It says I'm Arya. I'm not.
It says you're Arya?
It legit says I'm Arya.
You're not Arya.
I don't like this quiz. That's wrong.
No. Get a different quiz. No,
I'm not Arya. Like, I even chose to not fight. I did the charm into submission type of thing. That is definitely not Arya. Arya would definitely fight, and she would fight head on. Okay. Which statement appeals most to you? Blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know any of these. Pick a song.
It's so hard to find good quizzes.
Right?
Most quizzes are like, oh, what's your favorite color? Oh, what do you like to do on the weekends? Like, what?
What? Pick an emoji. How does this do anything? What does that even mean? All these quizzes aren't great. All these quizzes really aren't great. I don't know any of these either. I got Arya again! No!
Are you serious?
Yes!
You are not Arya.
I'm not Arya. Like, I really
Arya.
am not Arya, guys.
You're really not.
Okay,
You're
well, you know what? I'm just gonna say all these quizzes are plotting against me. And I'm just gonna blame it on the fact that, I know I'm being recorded right now, so I can't truly,
Mom gets, guys, I suck with names. What John's old girlfriend? The wildling girl, what's her name?
I know her real life name is, like, Rose.
I don't remember her name. Anyway.
Egret.
Yes, her.
You think I'm Egret?
No, that's
new to Mom.
Yeah.
I think Mom's also... Well, I was going to say she's also Catherine Stark.
Yeah, that's true, too.
But I don't think she would have treated John that way.
The Starks, they were killed so early on.
Yeah.
Everything went to shit so easily.
Yeah.
The dogs! I love the dogs. Ghost was like the only one who stuck around.
Yeah. And even then, it was like... I feel like we barely... Well, no, Nymeria is still there.
Well, still alive, but not with Arya.
Still alive, yeah. It has a family.
Name, Nymeria. I love the name Nymeria. If I ever get a husky, I want to name her Nymeria.
Even if she's not in, like, albino? Wasn't Nymeria an albino one, or is that's just Ghost?
No, that was Ghost. Ghost was the albino. Remember, because they were like, oh, this is the odd wolf owl. Let's give them to John, because John's the bastard.
That was Theon. Or Reek. Can we just talk about how awful Ramsay is for a second in Joffrey? Like,
I'm kind of disappointed by Ramsay because he was such a comic book villain. Like, Joffrey was a great villain. I love Joffrey because he was like a terrible person, but he was very human. Like, he was a coward.
Yeah.
He was such a coward, and he clung to his mother. And so he had these things that were just like he was human, but he was terrible. And it's like you hated him, but he was still kind of like a real person.
Yeah.
Ramsay didn't feel like a real person. He just felt like he was just bad. Like, I don't really feel anything when I think of Ramsay because he's just bad. Like, I hate Joffrey more than Ramsay, even though you could say that Ramsay's worse, just because Joffrey was actually, like, a real person.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say, yes, Joffrey is a better villain, better written out character, and had a better arc. Ramsay didn't have an arc for us. Ramsay was just awful right off the fucking beginning.
Yeah, because Joffrey had an arc. He was a spoiled brat who evolved into, like, a free devil child.
Yeah, like, he full on turned into, like, the worst king ever. But he also showed that he was stupid in many ways. Like, falling so easily for Marjorie's tricks. Like, Marjorie being like, oh, I'm so interested in this
Marjorie was very intelligent.
bowcaster. And, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to, like, go hunting and, like, kill everyone. And then, like, she goes to the orphanage, and yet that's a completely different person. He still thinks it's great. You know, it's like...
It's so sad to watch the part where Marjorie and Sansa are talking, and, like, Sansa could get on the boat to escape with Littlefinger, but Marjorie's like, oh, you can stay here with me and we could be sisters. And then everything just goes to shit.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. Okay, I've asked people, I like to ask people this question. Which character do you think suffered the most? I think it's Sansa. I think Sansa suffered the most out of all the characters. Although, I mean, Reek, actually, excluding Theon. That's his name, right? Theon?
Yes. The young Greyjoy, or
Greyjoy actually probably suffered the most. Other than him, Sansa.
I mean,
like,
he definitely suffered more, like, physical.
Yeah.
I mean, like, with being filleted and his dick getting chopped off. Or was it his balls getting chopped off?
Torture. Like, obviously, he takes the cake because he was physically tortured. But, like, excluding him, you know, like, the other things everybody else had to go through, like, Sansa had it the worst, man. She freaking Joffrey made her look at her dead dad's head on a spike.
Well, honestly, though, Ramsay was way worse than Joffrey to Sansa in, obviously, many ways.
Yeah. And that, too, what she went through there, too. I mean, like, she just went through so much.
She went through so much. She had to change to reality in order to survive. She had to adapt. And I think that's also one of the things, unfortunately, with all the experience that she had, even though they were awful and she suffered so much, she really did, you know, become a good ruler from it because she knows. Like, she knows how people could be. And like, and it wasn't even just, like, you know, evil men. There was that awful girl that was, like, in love with Ramsay or something that, like, got, like, pushed off, you know, like, she was awful too. And there were so many, like, awful women in, like, the show as well, you know, so she knows people and she's not afraid to make, like, the executive decisions, because she was so used to everyone telling her what to do, you know, for, like, the longest time. I do have to say, Ramsay's death wasn't, bad enough. It should have been way worse. Joffrey had a good death. I thought him dying with, like, the poison, that was so, like, and we didn't know, like, who did it. You know, there was so much around that, and then Ramsay's was just being eaten alive by his dogs. I think there could have been, like, way worse things. Like, I mean, he cut off, like, Theon's dick, so why couldn't Sansa cut off his dick and then feed it to the dogs, and then the dogs could have eaten him after he's watched the dogs eating his dick? You know, like... that's really morbid. I sound really morbid. I mean, I think I probably sounded like Arya a little bit right here. But, like, he was an awful person. And I just feel like there could have been, like, with all the awful things that he did, he could have had a way worse, like, comeuppance. You know, like, karma should have come and kicked him way harder than what it did.
Yeah, there's a number of characters whose deaths could have been more satisfying. Littlefinger's death... I don't know. Like, to me, it wasn't super satisfying because Littlefinger was supposed to be very cunning.
Yeah.
And the way I don't know. It wasn't terrible, but I don't know. Something about it just didn't really satisfy my needs.
I just felt like Littlefinger is just like, you know, he was there. He was like Varys. You know, like, they were all about whispers and knowing things, you know, and, like, I just
Yes.
felt like, if anything, they would have, like, lived in the end, honestly, with, like, getting away with stuff, like, at least Varys. Like, Varys didn't get away. But
His death was stupid because Varys was
he just
super
burned
intelligent.
alive.
I know he was super intelligent. The mistakes that he made
Were way
were
too
out of
obvious.
character. Yeah, he's not. He was supposed to be very intelligent.
Yeah, I just felt like they put so much, like, of these personalities on, you know, these people, and then they just kind of fall through. Like, I don't think Varys, like, after so many seasons of him being, like, changing so much, you know, like, getting a lot of things, like, going behind the scenes, and so was Littlefinger, and then for them to die kind of, like, that easily, it just felt, like, really weird to me. If that makes sense. I'm trying to think, is there, like, the only thing is, like, the only death that I thought that was really good was, I thought Jorah's was good. I mean, he died saving Daenerys, which is, like, what he wanted to do. He loved her. I thought that was, like, a very honorable way to go. He, I think, was just, right before Arya killed the Night King. He was, killed by, like, he was fighting, like, he got attacked by, like, a Night Walker, and then, like, he kept going and kept, like, defending her, which was good. I also want to say, like, it sucks seeing all the dragons die. That was awful.
Okay, one of the dragon's deaths was super dumb. That one dragon who died
Got
like
shot out of this.
by what's his face.
Oh, the evil uncle. Yeah, the uncle.
I love Yara, by the way. Side note, Yara and Daenerys's flirty conversation. That was my jam. That was great.
Yeah, Sissy was excited for that.
The dragon just got shot out of the sky and died? Like, what? It's a dragon! I thought it was so stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. Because, well, isn't that the same thing that killed... No. I was like, that's going to be the same thing that killed the first one. No, but the first one was like was the spear, right, from the Night Walker? The Night King? Yeah, through the spear, and it killed. Yeah. So, like, that had magical properties. I gotta understand the spear doing it. But, yeah, that big spear, I don't think that could kill dragons. I mean...
Because it's the Night King. The Night King should be able to kill a dragon, but the evil uncle? Like, what?
I think it was, like... But remember, like, there used to be dragons, like, everywhere around the earth, and they had that in, like, the basement, like, the dungeon. So, like, that technology had been there for a long time. So it wasn't like they came up with it, you know, like, they tried to plant it in there as in, like, for sure it would work because, like, it had worked in the past. I just felt like it was stupid because that's just another, like, awful thing. And
I just thought it was unsatisfying.
I just felt like I really liked Drogon. Is that the last dragon?
Yeah.
I just felt so bad for him. It's like he lost both his siblings and his mom. And now he's like the only dragon in the world off by himself. It's not like he could go find like a partner in life and have kids. You know, like he's like bound to live a very lonely, sad life in wherever he takes Daenerys. It's just very like depressing. And, like, I felt bad for John. I mean, I know he likes being in the North, and I don't think he wanted to be king anyway. So I think he was fine with what had happened. But, like, also, you know, there were two women that he freaking loved and lost both of them. So he didn't get any happy ending. I don't really feel like anyone got a happy ending.
Arya, I mean, Arya got to go explore. I've heard complaints about her ending too. I thought it was like fine.
It seemed logical for her.
She's more of a free spirit. She just kind of wants to have an adventure. So like, I was fine with her. Same thing with Sansa. I thought Sansa had a good proper ending. She's ruling over Winterfell. Yeah, like she's a good. I think she'd be a good ruler. But Jon going back with the wildling, I mean, like, yeah. I didn't hate it. I just really wanted to see him on the throne. Bran's okay. Bran,
I just really didn't like Bran on the throne.
I don't understand why Bran ended up on the throne. That was the most random thing in the entire universe to me. I thought it was so stupid.
It was just weird. I would have to say, Gregor is the Hound, I think. Or is it the Mountain? I don't know. But the Hound had a good death when he was fighting his brother.
Their death was good.
Their fight was epic. I thought that was like they did that with justice. You know, we always knew it was going to be like him probably not surviving in the end because he was facing his brother. But yeah, honestly, I was just disappointed. Just overall with the final season, there were so many storylines. I mean, with how badass like Daenerys was for the longest time and how awesome and Jon Snow was, you know, like I just felt like there could have been a lot more like put into the final season. They could have made another season, kept it short as well, like focus more on like fine, like the Night King is dead. Can we see the progression of Dany being evil now? Like, I just really felt like they rushed too much. And also, can we not have Cersei and Jaime die by, like, falling rocks?
Yeah, their death was dumb.
Like, they try to make, like, Cersei, like, one of the biggest villains, and then she dies by falling rocks.
Cersei was really smart, too. I kept waiting for her to have something up her sleeve.
Yeah.
But, like I kept waiting, like, she knew Daenerys was gonna come. But Daenerys comes and she doesn't have, like, any plan, and she just surrenders, and then she dies by falling rocks? What? I would have liked to see maybe, like, Daenerys kill Cersei or something. But
like, yeah, burning Cersei alive or something like that. See, so that could have been good. Like, Cersei was pregnant, you know? So, like, if Daenerys burned Cersei alive when Cersei was pregnant, that also could have been, like, showing how evil Daenerys has come to be like, I'm going to kill someone, you know, that's with child, you know, like that could have been like ultimately like get obviously a lot of people upset. I'm not saying that I necessarily wanted that to happen, but I'm just saying like if they really wanted to show her like going absolutely batshit crazy, that would definitely be something that, you know, her father would have done, the crazy Night King, from like what the Mad King, from what we had heard. Like he didn't care, he killed women, children, all that type of stuff all the time. So it seemed like that could have been a better, like, not a better death, but you know what I'm saying, like a more like influencing death to the story, being like, I don't know, it's just like awful. Like all of it's just awful. And it's just like I forgot that for a while that Cersei was like pregnant. So that was just like
I didn't remember that at all. I don't remember that. I don't remember her being
they
pregnant.
try to use that as why Jaime went back.
Jaime, they shouldn't. I'm so sick of like these I'm pregnant like plot points, because I see them all the time and it's so annoying. And like they shouldn't have done that, because Jaime shouldn't have gone back to Cersei.
Yeah.
His whole character arc was about getting away from Cersei and realizing
being his own person.
What a shitty person she is, becoming his own person. And then he just throws it all away. He goes back to her and dies with her.
I mean,
didn't he say that he like always loved her too, or something like that?
Yeah, and it was just like she also threatened to kill him multiple times, and it's like it doesn't even matter to him.
And he didn't even care.
It's just like I'm pretty sure if I just kept threatening to kill like my significant other, they would probably leave too. It'd be a little freaked out. So it's like, why would you? I don't know. And I mean, they are brother and sister, so that's also interesting. Like, I mean, obviously, like you knew they were gonna like love each other because they're family, but then the whole love in that I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Overall, like there's so much more to say. I wish like I probably should prepare better for this podcast with like a recap of like
a list of bullet points.
Just because like there's so much to talk about. Like it's like not short episodes. Even in my current class right now, I have a mass communications class that I'm taking. And it's a group project, and we're doing, oh my God, a project on, like, we take a TV show and then we analyze it, and I suggested to Game of Thrones. So I'm like rewatching some of the episodes and stuff like that. And it just makes me like fall in love with the series all over again. But I have to just keep like not really getting attached, or else I'm just going to get upset again like I did last time with the final season. But all that fun stuff.
Saddest death I would probably say is Hodor's. That one made me cry.
Yeah. That was an awful death. Hodor, like, I full on cried.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, like, at first I was like, I don't know if they actually would have, like, done the burning alive when she was pregnant thing, because that's so, like, morbid, like, the whole show. But I just remembered, like, I was thinking saddest death, and I was thinking, oh, the red wedding, like, you know, the wife of, you know, one of the brothers. Rob, you know, Rob's wife was pregnant when she died during the red wedding. Yeah, so it's just like, that's just as morbid. But I feel like, so that's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Too. Like, I was really upset with that.
The thing with those deaths, though, is that it was so shocking that I couldn't really feel sad.
Yeah, it was just like,
Hodor
what the fuck?
like, no!
Yeah. And, like, finding out, like, why he would say Hodor all the time.
I mean,
like,
that was
Hodor. Like, oh my God, that was so sad. I have to say, though, Marjorie's death was probably the worst for me. But that was because I had a personal thing with Marjorie. Natalie Dormer is, like, my girl.
She's got a massive girl crush on her.
Yeah, she's, like her and Anne Boleyn in the Tudor series. Just saying, she's great. But... So that was hard. I would say definitely, yeah, most, like, upsetting probably would be Hodor, though. Like, I did cry during that scene. I was just like, please no. Please don't do this. I really thought they were going to bring Hodor back in, like, the final season as, like, a White Walker. They didn't do that. But I thought that would have been definitely, like...
Yeah, I remember seeing theories about that.
I really feel like if they had done something like that, that could have brought, like, a lot more emotion into, like, the final battle. Like, having someone who knew Hodor or something like that having to, like, take down his White Walker or something like that, or at least just a glimpse. I don't know, it would have just been more emotional with that. But yeah, oh my gosh, there's just so much, like, that we love about Game of Thrones, but, like, I think it just sounded like we pretty much ranted on the whole thing this whole episode, but it's really just because of how much we love it. It's because we loved it.
Show, and they ruined it. And I just want George R. R. Martin to finish the book so I could have some peace of mind.
Yeah. It was just like, why?
Why?
I just want Jon Snow to be on the throne, and I want Marjorie to be alive, and I wanted Jon and Marjorie to be together forever, and I wanted them to have cute kids, and that's all I wanted in life, you know? I know, obviously that didn't make much sense, but you can imagine them. Marjorie and Jon, if they rolled together, like, they would have been good. They would have been good.
Marjorie and Jon wouldn't get along.
Okay, you don't know that.
Jon is so honest. Marjorie is conniving.
Okay, that's only because of the people she's had to be with. Do you remember her first
power? She admitted it. She lies because she craves power, wants to be queen. Okay. She's honest
she
about
did want
that.
to be queen, that's true. But her grandma also put her up to that.
Like, sure, she admitted she wants power, she wants queen. Like, sure, good for you. But, like, that's
but
not
I
what
think I think if she and Jon were together, they could fall in love. I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. No way.
And I would have been so happy. I would have been so very happy.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No way.
That's what I'm gonna think in my mind. That's what happened. That's the final season.
You pretend.
I'm going to pretend. It will make me very happy if I just pretend that's what happened. You know, and she didn't die by wildfire or anything like that. And
that was a pretty epic scene.
It was very upsetting. Very
upsetting. Well, it's been pretty long.
That's true. Well, thank you, everyone who stopped by for the live recording of this, long Game of Thrones loving ranting podcast episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for all the new follows and the hosts and everything today and all the chatters. I hope you guys had an awesome discussion with yourselves. And we will see you back in 2 weeks. I don't think we have a topic chosen. So just definitely check the Discords and yeah, keep updated. And bye everyone.
Bye.